Real people, real breakthroughs. This is the Psychology of Eating podcast, where psychology and nutrition meet to uncover the true causes of our unwanted eating concerns. Your relationship with food will never be the same. Now, here's your host, eating psychology expert, and founder of the Institute for the Psychology of Eating, Marc David.
Welcome, everybody. I'm Marc David, founder of the Institute for the Psychology of Eating. And here we are in the Psychology of Eating podcast. I'm here with Rhonda today. Welcome, Rhonda.
Thank you.
Glad you're here. Glad you're doing this.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here.
Yay. So let me say a few words. For anybody viewing or listening who's new to this podcast, here's what this is about. We're gonna be together for about an hour. And Rhonda's going to be sharing with me. We've never met yet. She's going to be sharing with me whatever concern or challenge she has around food, body, and health. And we're going to try to take about 6 months to a year's worth of coaching and work and condense it into one session. So in other words, this will be highly unusual. We're going to try to hit the target as much as we can. I'm going to push the fast forward button and see if we can get to the heart of things and, give you, Rhonda, some ideas, some insights, openings, breakthroughs. So with that in mind, I'm going to just be asking you a bunch of questions. And after about 15 or 20 minutes, I'm going to kind of wrap it all together and start to give you some of my thoughts. If you could wave your magic wand and get whatever you wanted out of this session, what would that be?
Oh, gosh. I want to get to a place where I can be just happy with where I'm at in my weight and in my body image, in how I feel about myself. Just some tools, I guess, to see. I find these questions really hard to answer. They are not easy.
Yeah. But there is a goal in mind. You want to get somewhere.
I do. I want to look in the mirror and love what I see all the time, not just sometimes. Okay. All the time.
I want to look in the mirror and love what I see all the time. So that's a beautiful wish. Do you want to weigh a certain amount, or do you just want to love what you got, or what?
Well, loving what I got would certainly be nice, but no, I do have a goal. I do want to lose about 25 pounds. I've seen myself at a certain size that I'm happy with, but I'm definitely where I've come to understand that might not be the right size for me. Mm-hmm. But yes, would I like to be that size? Yes, okay. I would.
And how would you describe your eating? Not so much what foods you eat, but just how would you describe yourself as an eater?
Well, I actually think I eat all the right foods and I eat a lot of good food. However, in between all of the good eating, there's that occasional binging, and there is it's so strange because at home I don't keep bad food in the house, and at home, if I never left the house, I would be absolutely fine. But the minute I'm in an environment where there's something put out, it's like all bets are off. Mm-hmm. I don't just have one of something. It's like I've never seen that food before. It's ridiculous. So I'm a healthy eater, but I've also got the other side where when it's available to me, I'm not. So I don't understand myself there.
Got it. Okay, so how often does an experience like that happen where, gosh, I'm now in a situation where I'm not home and I'm eating way more of this food than I want to be eating? How often does that happen?
Pretty often, because I work in an environment where we're a small environment, so there's always a birthday, there's always someone coming or going, or there's always a reason for someone to bring a cake or the
How
snack
often?
foods.
Once a week, 5 times a week?
Probably once a week for sure. Mm-hmm. And that's just work related. That's not including the family birthdays so I mean, if I added it all up, it's probably at least, well, twice a week consistently, but some weeks it's more, and you go on a holiday, like it's too much. I know that. It's too much.
So how long has this been your experience?
Forever. I don't remember it not being my experience, really.
So when you were a teenager, same thing?
I would have to say, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
for sure.
When did you first started? So do you consider yourself, wow, I'm dieting and trying to lose weight? Like, do you do things that seem like I'm doing this so maybe I could lose a little weight?
Yeah,
Okay.
definitely.
How long have you been dieting? When was the first?
I, as long as I can remember. For
Okay.
sure, even as a teenager. As a teenager, I might not have called it dieting, but yeah, I've been conscious and concerned with my weight my whole life.
Okay. So have you ever been 25 pounds less than you are right now?
Yes, actually, it's only actually this last few years, I've had a lot of changes in my life. I did lose almost 30 pounds, and I kept it off for 2.5 years. And I thought I was in the clear. I was feeling great. And then this last year, I have slowly gained back about 25 of it. And I'm just so angry at myself because I just thought I had, and I felt like I had done it right. I didn't do it this time. I didn't feel like I did it in a dieting negative way. I felt like I did it in a very healthy way. And then I just,
Okay, so why do you think the weight came back on?
well, when I say why, I feel like it's an excuse.
No, just
I've recently, my husband and I have recently separated, and it's about a year since I made the decision to separate, not since the actual separation. And I just hate to say that that's why I let myself stop caring or something. I don't know. I mean, that's the biggest thing that's happened in my life in the last year. So, I mean, I know that. But I mean, my whole life has been the same. It's not like this is new to my experience in weight gain, weight loss, weight gain, weight loss.
So then prior to this last time that you lost the, 30 pounds, slowly gained back 25. So prior to that, you've gained it and lost it. Um, have you ever had a time where, so in this last time, when you lost the 25 pounds and it slowly came back on, at some point you weighed 25 pounds for a while, you weighed 30 pounds less for a little while there.
Mm-hmm.
How was life for you?
Beautiful.
Uh-huh.
That's just it. It was so beautiful. I took up yoga and meditation, which really, I think, changed my life. So I don't know if that was kind of the start of it. So I'm definitely in a better place now than I ever have been since in this last 2.5 years where these bigger changes in my life took place. Sorry, I almost forget the question.
Okay, so I was asking you, you've lost this weight. Sort of what happened? Who were you? How did you feel when the weight was off? Like, how good was life? Because you're expecting it to be good. So you were saying, yeah, I
Right.
felt pretty good.
I did feel great. I did
Hmm.
feel great. And I felt healthy, healthier than stronger than I've ever felt, healthier than I've ever felt. Um,
So let me ask you this question. Okay, so previously you've also lost and gained this weight over the
mhm.
years. Why do you think you gained it back in previous times when you lost it?
Well, in previous times, I never actually lost that much.
Uh-huh.
This was the most I had ever lost. So in previous experience, it was 10 pounds here, 10 pounds, up and down, and that was more. I was dieting. It was like go hard diet, and then see what happens is that I almost sabotage myself because I can feel myself the minute I start losing some weight. I suddenly find myself hearing myself say, "Oh, it's okay. You can have that now. You can have that. It's just, it's just one cookie. It's just," and then it just builds and builds and builds. And
So how did you lose
like
that weight?
this last time,
Yeah. How did you do it? You said,
clean eating, just kind of clean eating, just healthy eating. I, I was eating foods. I wasn't craving the junk food like I normally do. I don't know. It just, this is what I don't understand is that I do feel that I did it so well.
Okay.
Like,
Okay. So I know you're confused. about what's going on. So just pause that comment. Pause that comment. Okay. So I got that. I'm just trying to gather information so I can help you here. So did you exercise more than you usually do in this last chunk of time when you lost the weight?
Yes, probably. I've always been active, but this time, well, with the yoga, I was doing a lot more. I was probably rather than an hour a day, or I was upwards at I was going. Some days were 2 hours a day, but I was enjoying it. I wasn't. I don't feel that I was. I was doing things I enjoy. I wasn't. I was the yoga has been the best thing that's ever come into my life. I took up running, but not too much. Like I really don't think I was overdoing it. But yeah, I was definitely exercising more than I normally would.
And exercise meaning yoga or meaning yoga and something else?
Yoga, running. I did Jillian Michaels work videos, some plyometrics, and that sort of thing.
How many days?
So a variety.
How many
every
days?
day. Almost every day. Yeah, I mean almost every day. There was a period where it was almost every day. Now I'm not doing it every day. I've kind of this last year I had a hamstring injury. It's kind of slowed me down. My yoga's been modified. Everything, all the exercise I've had to do in this last year has been modified because of my knees, my hams, just a few unknown injuries here.
Okay, so would you call yourself a fast eater, a moderate eater, a slow eater?
I am a fast eater.
Okay,
yes.
Fast eater.
Definitely.
And do you have kids?
I have 2 kids.
How old?
14 and 15.
Girls, boys?
My son is 15. My daughter is 14.
How's her relationship with her body?
Well, so far, I think it's good. Except, no, I'm noticing she is occasionally when her, she'll say her belly is fat when she's the tiniest little thing you can imagine. So I'm very more conscious now than I was maybe as she was growing, but I'm definitely more conscious now about how I speak around her. And, I mean, I don't ever I try never to use the word skinny, fat. I use words like healthy. Size isn't what's important. It's your health. And so I'm very conscious of where she's at. So yeah, but I think overall she's pretty healthy, but.
So what do you expect would be different? Who would you be? What would be different? How would you be different if you lost the 25 pounds? Tell me who this new person would be that we're trying to get to.
See, a year ago when I was down that weight, the person I just felt awesome. And just getting dressed in the morning was easy because everything fit. That sounds so silly, but it takes me forever. It can take me 5 minutes to get ready in the morning, but an hour to figure out what to wear because I look in the mirror and I don't like it's those silly little things that all of that was gone. I just seemed accepting of myself, like in a way that I've never been. And I don't know why I put so much emphasis on the size and the weight, but I just liked myself when I don't, that's not enough, is it? I don't know.
Okay, so
confidence. I had confidence that I'd never had before.
Okay, so if you get there, you would be more confident, you would like yourself, you wouldn't have to go through the tedious process of trying to look at all these different outfits that you don't like. It would just happen really quickly. You'd feel good. Anything else? I'm just collecting how life is going to be so great because I get that this is super important to you. Let's just own that. So this is important. So I want to find out why. And that's fine. It's fine to have your reasons. What? Anything else?
Well, I maybe they're all just vain reasons. I don't know.
That's
because as far as I like who I am, I like how far I've come. I like who I I like who I want to be. I'm proud of myself. I'm proud of my life. So that's what doesn't make sense to me, is that I can reason out how lucky and happy and grateful I have so many blessings in my life. So how can so much of how I feel about myself stem from what I see in the mirror? Like, it's just so hard to
Okay, hold
understand.
that question. Hold that question. It's a really powerful question. I'm going to rephrase it for a second. How can my life be really pretty good on paper? When I look at it, it's like, wait a
Totally.
second. I'm a good person. I've accomplished these things. A lot of great things have happened. Life ain't so bad. Why the heck am I putting all this energy into not liking how I look? Why can't I just accept it? Why can't I be happy? How could I have these two sides to me? So, great question. We're going to get to that. But I still got a couple of questions here. So you don't have to answer this. A little more sensitive question. But if you are willing to answer it, if you were in your husband's shoes right now, and I asked him, "What's your chief complaint about Rhonda that would make you want to separate?" What would he say?
That would make him want to separate?
Yeah.
Maybe that his chief complaint, that I'm too hard on myself, that I'm, oh gosh, his chief complaint.
Does he complain?
No, he doesn't. He truly doesn't ever. He's never, ever, ever said a negative thing about me, ever.
So then you've initiated a separation more so than he's like, "I'm out of here. This is terrible."
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
got it. Okay, so we don't have to go there right now. But if you're willing, what's your chief complaint?
About
Him.
about him.
Yeah.
Communication.
Uh-huh.
Communication.
And specifically, I want this kind of communication and I don't get it. Like if you could sum it up into 2 sentences or less.
The type of, not the day-to-day communication, the hard stuff, when I need help with the kid, or input with the kids, that sort of thing. When I want to have a deep discussion about something, I don't get anything in return, I feel. It's the supportive kind. He supports me with his presence, and he supports me with saying like I'm doing a good job, but I don't feel like I'm getting the input I need, as far as I'm summing it up poorly. But it's those harder conversations. I feel like I do all the talking and I don't get any response.
Got it. So for the tougher conversations, you would want a partner who's just more present and more aware and just has more to contribute to that. It sounds like he might get a little too quiet for your taste.
Yes.
And those kinds of things. Yeah. Okay, that's helpful for me. One last thing. Are your parents still alive?
Yes.
Are you close with them?
Yes.
How's your mom's relationship with her body?
Probably similar to mine. Yeah, I think she's been a chronic type dieter all her life as well. I mean, that would be my guess. She might not see it that way, but she's just this itty bitty of a thing. So I think her relationship with her body has certainly improved and changed at the age she's at now. But no, I think her whole life was similar to mine. The whole chronic dieting, that sort of thing. Body image. I think she may have tied a lot to her body image as well.
Okay, got it.
Definitely.
Okay, so I've got some thoughts now that I would love to share with you.
Okay.
Yeah, no, this is good. This is good. You've given me a lot of good information about you, and everything I'm going to say is in the context of, I might not deliver what I'm saying like this normally in a single session, but I'm trying to proceed as if this is the last session I'm ever doing in my life. So I want to make it one of the better ones. And this is the only time I might ever get to speak with you about your concerns. So if I was going to die right after this, I would want to deliver the best that I could. So that's how I'm looking at this.
Great.
So here's what I want to say to you. We're gonna start a little broad, and then I'm going to narrow it down for you. And the idea here is I definitely would love to see you happier. I would love to see you being able to bring together all these wonderful parts of you that you know are there, that you know exist, that you know have done good things in your life and in this world, and help you find a place where you can feel good about what you got. So here's the challenge for you. So the challenge for you, in part, is that your brain, your mind, has set up a conundrum. And it's an understandable conundrum, just so you know. So here's the understandable conundrum. The conundrum, and you pretty much said this, I'm just putting it in my words, the conundrum is, wait a second, I'm this great person, I'm wonderful, I'm cool, hey, I'm not so bad, like, wow. And there's this part of me that absolutely doesn't like myself and spends all this energy, and it confuses the hell out of you as to why that is. So what I want to say is, right from the beginning, that confusion that you go into causes you way more pain and suffering than the actual challenge itself. It's almost like saying, I woke up this morning and it snowed, but last night's news report said tomorrow's going to be sunny and warm. And I get up in the morning and I go, but the weather report said snow and it's sunny and warm. And I lie in bed going, I don't understand this. Why did they do this? It doesn't make any sense. Because they said this, but it's really turned out to be that. And it's like, wait a second, I trust this and you should. And I could spin off and lie in bed all day and never get up and enjoy the sunshine because I've set up this conundrum. Now, is it a bit of a mystery? Sure. So I'm agreeing with you. This is an interesting mystery. But the way you frame it drains your energy. So I want to reframe this piece that you set up that you find so impossible and so almost unacceptable in your version of what reality should be. So you have your very humble version of how you think the universe should work. And we're narrowing it down a little bit here. Part of the challenge, Rhonda, is you want the kind of experience, I think, and I'm not sure that you want this consciously, but you want to wake up, well, you kind of said it, I want to love my body every day. So what I want to say is let's change the target. How about I'm going to love myself no matter what? That's a little different. Well, this is a what if. What if, instead of looking in the mirror every day, I love you, you're so beautiful. Man, you're hot today. You're gorgeous. Who wouldn't want to be with you, beautiful? I'm going to love myself no matter what. I'm going to love myself even if I get up and I'm tired. I'm going to love myself even if I get up and I don't think I look good. I'm going to love myself even if I'm separated. I'm going to love myself even if I'm married and living with no matter what. So do you make it conditional with your kids? Okay, sweetheart, you're looking a little more chubby today. Don't love you. Not interested. When you lose weight, I'm going to wake up and really say, I'm so glad you're my kid. I'm so glad I have you because you look better now. To me. No, you wouldn't say that. You're going to love your kids no matter what. If your kid gains 10 pounds, loses 10 pounds, makes $1 million, makes 10,000, you're going to still love them. So you have it set up for yourself where you have this kind of vision that has too many unicorns in it. There's too many unicorns, meaning it's a little bit too phantasmagorical. It's not based in reality. Because the bottom line is, you tell me, do you know anybody? Have you met people who have all the Hollywood good looks and they still don't like themselves and they still self-critical and they still don't love themselves? Have you ever met someone like that? No? Yes? No?
No.
Okay. So trust me, those people exist. They're all over the
Yeah,
place.
sorry, yes, I have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's tons of them. So the looks guarantees you nothing. The most beautiful people in the world commit suicide. So what I'm doing is I'm speaking to a lifelong pattern that you have that you did not invent. Here's the other piece. You're going, why me on a certain level? So again, I want to say a ton of your energy gets drained. I'm not fixing the problem yet. I'm looking for you to reframe it. I'm saying your energy gets drained by how you have this set up because you're looking for this end result of I love myself every day. And the way you set it up is if I look like this, if I lose this 25, 30 pounds, then I will love myself every day. So I asked you, so how was life when you were 25 pounds less? Great. I loved it. I felt good. So here's what I want to say about that. You were on drugs. You're on two kinds of drugs. Okay, and you might as well have been doing crack cocaine as far as I'm concerned, in terms of you're on a temporary high. The temporary high is I'm exercising 2+ hours a day sometimes. I'm dieting, I'm controlling myself, and I hit my weight, and it's a buzz. It's a high. It's an absolute high. So is alcohol. When you do alcohol, so is cocaine, so is any other drug that gives you a rush. So is drinking 4 Red Bulls. God, I drank 4 Red Bulls, I feel so great. Of course you do. Guess what? You're going to come down. And you're going to feel very different. So what happens is at that point when you lost the 25 pounds, you did something that you normally don't do, which is you shut your inner critic off. And when you shut your inner critic off, you actually like yourself. But the thing is, you shut your inner critic off. And you shut her off because she had nothing to attack. And as soon as life starts to happen again, and things don't get easy, and you're not going to be exercising 2 hours a day, and all of a sudden the inner critic creeps back in. So you actually had a good time in part, not so much because of the weight loss, just stop attacking yourself. You stop setting up this conundrum where I'm only going to love you if, and now I'm loving myself now. It's no different than if you set your kids, I'm only going to love you if you have straight A's. And all their lives they've been getting A's and B's. And you don't love them. In fact, you nag at them. In fact, you're not a very nice person. And all of a sudden they get straight A's and you're like, I love you. And your kids are going to be so happy. And then as soon as one of them gets a B and you're going to hate on it, that's kind of what you do to you. And you think it's the weight. You and everybody else, I've heard this story, and you are a unique person, trust me, and I've heard this story a million times before, which is, and I lost the weight, I felt so good. I fit into all my clothes. And all I hear is temporary high, temporary high, temporary high. There's all kinds of ways to do temporary high. Extreme weight loss, which for you I'm going to call that an extreme weight loss, based on dieting and exercise that is not necessarily sustainable. And it wasn't sustainable for you. So you got on a temporary high, and because it wasn't a permanent shift, it was temporary, it did creep back up because you didn't change. What changed was various little outer behaviors, and what changed was the clothing, and I don't mean the real clothes, your spacesuit changed a little bit. But inside that conditional person who does conditional love, I'll only love you if, she's still active. And you're conditional with yourself. That's one of the biggest places. You're meaning, I only love myself if. So, again, I'm going to summarize here. In the big picture, you, in my opinion, drain a ton of energy by trying to figure out why the sky is blue. Why is it? Well, guess what? Humans do that. Humans have, back to Sigmund Freud, 100+ years, he said humans have a death instinct and a life instinct. Eros and Thanatos. There's a part of us that wants to just destroy things. There are humans who take guns and shoot. There are humans who break things. There are humans who hurt other humans. So the human being is capable of damage. to self or others. That's who we are. There's parts of us that work for us. There's parts of us work against us. Like, there it is. Simple as that. So your job, my job, all of us are here to try to figure out and help each other. God, how do I marshal all my forces? How do I gain more and more control over my mind so it doesn't torture me? How do I learn how to have more unconditional acceptance and love of myself so I'm not kicking my own butt every day? So that's the idea, not why is this? Why am I doing it? Which is like, why is the sky blue? Why was I born a woman? You know, why? It's like, so you get stuck in philosophy, which ends up kind of making you crazy, and it ends up making you miserable. So I want you to take that question off the table. And I got a little short with you because there was a number of times at the beginning when I was asking you questions and you kept returning to, gosh, I just don't know why I do that. And I wanted to stop it because I didn't want to hear, I didn't want you to drain your own energy. So if I was a little bit harsh, my apologies, but it was coming from the place of don't do that. It would be no different if I watched you banging your head against a wall. I would say, Rhonda, stop. Stop banging your head against the wall. So it's kind of, to me, what I see you do. I know you're not intending to do that, but you're trying to fight a battle in a way that it can't be won. So you have this because you adopted it from the world and the culture. You did not invent body hate. You didn't invent perfectionism. You didn't invent this thing called, we're going to now program you, young women, to think that you need this perfect little body in order to be lovable and okay and feel good about who you are. So that toxic belief will exist long after you and I die, and it's been around long before you and I showed up. Not too long, but definitely a while. So it's bigger than us. It's bigger than you. So the reason why this is hard to change is it's because it's bigger than us. So it's hard to change the world. But the world is living in us, meaning all this perfectionism. So that's the challenge. That's why it's so hard on the one hand. So it is hard. So I want to acknowledge this is difficult. But what's going to make it easier for you is to, number one, let go of adding in more misery where you don't need it into the challenge, which is stop trying to figure out how could this be. Get rid of the philosophy and just hang on to this is the way life is. Life has good and bad. Some animals you could sit and pet them and they love you, and some animals you try to pet them, they're going to bite you. You could go, why is that? Or you could just accept house cats and house dogs, good. Lions, not so good for a pet. Just the way it is. So the next piece here is that you've kind of spent a lifetime yo-yoing up and down. And what I want to suggest, and this is, Rhonda, what I've seen, it's the last place people tend to go to solve their challenge. And to me, you're there. You're going down that what looks like a dead end. It's the same road you've been on, which is what do I got to do to lose this weight? You lose some of it, all of it, and then something happens, and it comes back on again, and maybe you had a temporary high, maybe you didn't. So what I'm saying is that's a pattern, and the only thing that changes in all that is your body. You don't change that much in all of that. So the real change has to happen within. And I mean that. I really, 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 really mean that. The reason why it's hard for change to happen within, one of the reasons, is because we get stuck in here. So when you try to mentally problem solve, you live here. And that's not a fun place. So when I asked you, what's your husband's chief complaint? Okay, so he doesn't really complain that much, but when you sort of guessed, you said, well, maybe I'm hard on myself. Well, for sure you're hard on yourself. I mean, there's no doubt about it. You know that. Fortunately, you're a grown woman and you've got a say in that. And this is where it is time to mature. This is where it's time to take the fork in the road. So you haven't been able to get where you want to go because your problem can't be solved at the level of the mind. You keep trying to figure it out. And I know you're smart, but you haven't been able to figure it out. And the reason why you can't figure it out is because it can't be figured out with the brain. Oh, well, maybe if I just do this, this, and this, and then that'll happen. But then if I do that. So you haven't figured it out, nor will you ever if you try to keep solving the problem at that same level. So what I want to say is the problem is solved here in the heart.
Mm-hmm.
The problem is solved in the body. And the problem is solved on a more soul or spiritual level. Those three places. That's where the action is. If you stay in the level of mind, which will have you dieting and exercising and trying to figure out which diet, which exercise, how come I sabotage myself? It's not really that you sabotage yourself. It's just that you're playing out the same game, which is conditional love. I will only love myself if I look a certain way. Because that is not acceptable in the eyes of the universe, because that's not acceptable to higher consciousness, because that's not acceptable to a higher soul's growth, there will be irritation in the system. So you know what? If you started inappropriately screaming at people, not acceptable. If you started cursing at your kids, not acceptable. You know, there's certain things that in our growth in character and in our personal evolution, it's just not in alignment.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, it's great when a lot of people discover healthy eating, they realize, oh my God, that's more in alignment with who I am. And things start to fall in place. And you discover yoga and meditation and you go, wow, that's in alignment with who I am. It's natural, like, wow, this is taking me where I'm supposed to go. So what's happening is there's places where you're not allowing yourself to grow. By staying in the conundrum of, well, if I can only lose this weight, then I love myself. And what's really happening is that life with a capital L, in my opinion, is going, Rhonda, time to grow up. Plain and simple. Time to mature, time to step into your adult big girl phase here and let it go. And let it go and eat a sustainable diet like you do. Start to find sustainable ways of moving that has nothing to do with you losing weight and everything to do with you loving your body. Because your goal is to love your body. So the only way to love your body is to actually love your body. Again, it's no different than you saying to your kids, I'm only going to love you if the following conditions are met. I need you to wake up at 5 in the morning. I need you to do 50 sit-ups when you get out of bed. I need you to, sing hallelujah. I mean, you could make all these conditions. And if they don't fulfill the conditions, you're not going to love them. That's what you're doing for yourself. And it drives you crazy. It drives all of us crazy when we do that to self. So you have to begin to pick apart the places where you go into conditional love and finally start to address the challenge where it lives. So what that's going to mean from where I'm sitting here is you taking 3 to 4 months and letting go of the goal. For the first time ever, just let go of the goal. And just finally be you. And learn how to say, okay, I might not have the perfect body right now. Even though I don't have the perfect body, I still love myself. Even though my marriage is not going perfectly, I still love myself. Even though I'm still a work in progress, me too, I love myself. That's different from, I will only love myself if I'm perfect. You're not perfect, I'm not perfect, find me the perfect person. What is it? I don't know if you heard this old joke. This guy is sharing with his best friend. He's like travels all over the world and he's trying to find a perfect woman to marry. And he's just going through all kinds of dates and he meets hundreds of women and he keeps rejecting them. because he hasn't found a perfect woman, and he's a mean, exacting kind of person. So finally one day he gets back to his friend. He's so excited. He says, I can't believe it. After all these years, I finally found a perfect woman. And his friend says, well, where is she? And he says, well, we broke up. And his friend says, like, why? And he says, well, she was looking for the perfect man. We ain't perfect. So the new game plan that I want to suggest for you is called I love myself even though. Even though. I'm not perfect. I'm not at the weight I want. I'm not at the looks I want, because otherwise I can pretty much guarantee you will have a life of misery. You will never get this handled, and you'll feel more and more sour as the years go on. And you'll feel less and less empowered, and you won't fulfill your potential. When I meet women in their 60s, 70s, and 80s who are presenting the same challenge to me that you are. My heart is crushed when I speak to them. Because this should not be, because I know what empowered women look like in their 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, and 80s, especially when you get up there. Especially when you start to hit your 40s, it's time to turn it around. Mm-hmm. It's just time, because life is short. So when I say we're not solving the problem at the level of mind anymore, and it's more level of heart, that's what I mean. So you can't figure it out. You haven't figured it out, nor will you figure it out. It has to be your heart just going, ceasefire. Mm-hmm. Not going to hate you anymore because you don't look a certain way. As soon as you set it up again, okay, well, but I felt so good. I would say to you, yeah, and I had 3 shots of tequila on New Year's and I felt great. And the next morning I had a little bit of a hangover. So I only do it on occasion. I know it's not the end all and the be all. So you had a temporary high. Weight loss will do that for people. A lot of jogging will do that for people. Certain kinds of exercise will do that for people. You go on a vacation, that's a temporary high also. Then you come back, man, I wish I could always feel that way. Well, so do I. And back to work. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So can you love yourself when you're working as much as you loved yourself when you were on vacation? Or like add a little more love into the system. So what I'm saying is I want you to leave the old story behind and start to adopt a new story. The new story is I'm not perfect. The new story is this is life. It is paradoxical. Mm-hmm. Parts of me love myself, parts of me don't. Every other human is like that too. I'm going to let go of the perfectionism. I'm going to let go of the weight of the scale. And I'm going to start to feel myself exercising and feel myself eating, as opposed to make it all centered around losing weight so some magical thing is going to happen. Here it is. This is your life. You're not going to feel, I love myself unconditionally, amazingly, perfectly every day. It's not going to happen. It could happen a hell of a lot more, but it doesn't have to have conditions. Mm-hmm. So how you doing so far? Because I'm yakking a lot here. And how's this landing for you?
Well, it's definitely landing. I think the part that hits me is stop trying to figure it out, because it's like you said, I have spent all of these years trying to figure it out, because knowing something intellectually, I just recently understood the difference between knowing something and believing something. Like, mm-hmm. or because you can believe something, but do you truly know it? Am I saying that right?
Yes. Yeah.
And yeah, I need to stop trying to figure it out. And I think I keep insisting that I need to figure it out.
Exactly.
And so that kind of resonates with me. Just stop trying to figure it out.
It's as simple as that. It
yeah.
exhausts you. It exhausts you.
It does. It really does.
It exhausts you, and it drains your energy, and it will make you less available to others. Mm-hmm. So one of the things I asked you, so what was your chief complaint about your partner? And your chief complaint was, there's a place where he doesn't kind of go a little deeper. And in conversations where it counts, he doesn't really show up. There's a place where in your way you do that with you. There's a place where you don't show up for yourself and you don't go deep enough with yourself. This is that place. And yeah, there's certain things you believe in your head. You might not know them in your bones and your guts and your cells and your heart, but when you don't know it on that deep cellular level, but you believe it in your head, the way you get it into your cells and your bones and your heart is you practice it. It's the only way. The only way is you practice those principles. So I can say, yeah, I believe in self-love, but if I don't practice it in little baby steps, it's useless. I could say, I believe in being a good parent, but every day I wake up and smack my kid for no good reason. Who cares what I believe? So practice now. Practice not smacking my kid. Practice elevating my children. Practice speaking kind words to them. So take the belief and look at what are the little practice places, the little baby steps that I can do that affirm that concept that's in my head. So you train yourself. It's no different than running. You could say, I believe in running. Okay, well, are you doing it or not? Okay, well, yeah, well, I was, okay, great. So you ran. So you took that belief and you practiced it. Is it easy? Not all the time. There's some days you don't feel like running, but you did. There's some days you might not feel like meditating or going to yoga class, but you did because you chose to practice it. And you chose to train, and training often means there's a little bit of intensity there. Mm-hmm. There's a little bit of effort. So where I'm asking you to make the effort is beginning to practice these things that you know. But where you go, well, I know them, but I'm just not doing them. Okay, that's an accurate observation. But there's no mystery there. So I'm saying there's actually no mystery. You're presenting it like it's a mystery. Mm-hmm. And I'm saying it's so simple. And you do this all the time in other areas, meaning there's tons of places in life where you believe something and you practice it. You know, my guess is you believe that it's good to be a good person and to uplift others and to spread love, and you do it. So you don't sit around thinking, oh boy, am I a lousy person because I believe this, but I don't do it. Sounds like you do that. So there's no mystery here. There's certain places where you don't practice what you believe.
That's right.
And then it becomes about you practicing. It doesn't become you figuring it out. Why is a human being like that, such as me? Because that actually doesn't get you close to resolving things. It actually spins you out into a whole other territory where there's no solution. So I'm showing you where you get, where you lose yourself. Mm-hmm. You follow me?
Yeah. Yes, I do. Yes.
Yeah. So what I'm saying is this isn't easy stuff. I'm trying to get in there with you, and this is all of us. We have our just certain places where it's just hard to see myself sometimes, unless I look in the mirror or unless somebody gives me feedback about the parts I can't see so clearly. So that's all I'm doing for you here. There's certain parts, because I'm not you, that I can see more clearly. There's certain things, if you got to know me, you would be able to pinpoint things for me. Like, hey, Mark, let me raise my hand and say what I see here that you might be missing. So that's all that's going on here. So, do you have a sense of what your homework is here?
Well, practicing. I do a lot of mirror work. Mm-hmm. I really do. I have affirmations written all over my house. There isn't anywhere I can't sit where I'm not reading, so that's a start. Yeah.
Here's what I want to say is as important to the practice of having all these positive affirmations about how good you are and how good you look and how you can love the body that you have right now. I'm all for that. Equally important for you, I want you to be able to say to yourself, I don't like my body today. And then take a deep breath and go, but I'm still going to stand by me. I still love me. It's a little switch because there's still this part of you that wants to I want to just look at my body and say, I love you. This is perfect. Actually, I want you to look at your body some days and say, there's some imperfections here. I don't look like the perfect Hollywood model. I'm not perfect by those standards. Kind of a bummer. That would be so nice. And I still love myself. I'm not going to let that ruin my life. I'm not going to let that stop me. Do you see the difference?
Yeah.
So I want you to be able to embrace that voice in you. Because you know something? We are taught to compare ourselves. It happens. Is that a good practice? Honestly, no. The more we can let go of comparison, the better. Especially when we compare ourselves and then draw conclusions that drain our energy. For you, I would almost rather you compare yourself and then go to the place where you go, yeah, I'm not that person. And that's okay. So it's letting go of a dream that you probably had long before you can remember. It's the dream of being the perfect little kind of princess. And you haven't quite let that go yet. And at some point we have to let that go to see what else is there. So part of letting it go for you is actually acknowledging that voice when it comes up. I still have that voice in me. So I would truly rather you own that voice and identify it rather than try to pretend it's not there. Oh, no, I love myself. No, actually, you're not loving yourself how you look right now. You're not. You have an image of how you should look. And it's perfectly understandable why you have that image, because it's you and just about every other 9 out of 10 women. So this isn't a mystery. So all I'm saying is I want you to love the total you, the woman who has this difficult challenge. You can still love her, just like you would love your kids when they have difficult challenges. Make sense?
It makes sense.
So it's letting go of the goal. And just letting it go, just letting it go, letting it go, just dropping it and seeing what that's like. Are you going to do that perfectly? No. Trust me, there's going to be days where you let it go and you go, this is the greatest thing ever. And then something's going to happen and you're not going to like yourself and you're going to go, no, that's a bunch of baloney. And you'll go and you'll take 3 steps back. And when that happens, I want you to love yourself and go, this is me being an imperfect human being. And sometimes, you know what? Human beings take 2 steps forward and 3 steps back, but then they take a couple steps forward again. And the net result is you're moving forward. It's kind of how life works for a lot of us. It's not just a straight up trajectory into heaven. We have setbacks. Some days the sun is really bright and shiny and the roses are popping up, and other days it ain't so pretty. Stop making it have to be perfect. Let it be imperfect. Yeah, it's not so easy.
Yeah, no, it's not easy.
No, but I think you're agreeing with me. We've kind of hit the target here for you.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So again, this was me in one session identifying the core areas that if I was working with you for 6 months, this is what would unfold. And I would have slowly kind of worked our way towards that, in 3 or 4 months to go, okay, wow, here it is. So there's a lot coming at you at once, but the point is you can handle it, and it's time. You're a big girl.
Yeah.
You're a big girl.
Time.
And it's just time. And that is maybe your most important affirmation. way more important than my body is beautiful. Way more important is it's time. It's your time now. And your time means it's your time to stop the nonsense, to stop the conditional love, to stop draining your energy, and to step into more of your queenhood, more of your royalty, more of your adulthood, to step into your woman with a capital W and let go of the princess dream of just being the perfect little thing.
Mm-hmm. Got it.
Easier said than done, I know.
Yeah.
I know.
But it does all make sense. It does.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to give you one suggestion. If you have a friend who is close and who you can share things with, I would love for you to have some kind of check-in partner and let him or her know, hey, here's what happened. Here's what came through. Here's what was shared. Here's what landed for me. Here's what I want to do. Here's my goal. And I just want you to be my buddy and make sure that I stay on my path here. So somebody who has their eye on you, who can, who you can report to every once in a while and say, hey, let me share with you where I'm at with this. Man, is this hard? Man, I just want to go back to dieting and working out 2 hours a day. Or wow, I feel so much, whatever it is. And let it be okay. Wherever you are, it's going to change. But by and by, more and more as you practice this, as you practice letting go of the goal, because it's a small goal and it's never really gotten you what you want, and as you shoot for the higher goal, which is unconditional self-acceptance, no matter what, self-love, even though you're not perfect, once you start shooting for that goal, things will start to take care of themselves in an entirely different way. And you may lose weight from that place or not. Honestly, if I was going to get paid $20 million to help you lose weight sustainably for the rest of your life, and I got one shot at this is what I would be doing with you. Exactly what I'm saying. And if I had a year to coach you, this is what I would be doing. I would coach you to let go of the scale, stop weighing yourself, stop having a goal, just do movement and exercise that's fun, eat the kind of diet that's natural for you. And you know something, when you're at the party and when you're at the experience, give yourself a little permission to say, I'm going to have a little bit. Instead of saying all or nothing. It's either I'm going to gorge on that or I'm not going to have any. I want you to have a little bit. I want you to say, I'm going to have a little bit and I'm going to slow down and relax and enjoy it. That's your other homework assignment. I want you to become a slow eater because you're actually not taking in food. Really? It's the enemy. If you're fast eating, by definition, you are not in your optimum relationship with food. So it's no different than if you say, well, I only talk to my kids for 30 seconds a day and it's really fast. Really? Okay. So same with food. You have to get in relationship with it, with your body, with how it tastes, with how it feels. And once you do that, you can start having a little bit of the party food, but you eat it and you get present with it and you get what you want. And then you're not going to have to eat a ton and completely rubber band and go boom, and then you just gorge on all of it because you're being all or nothing.
Mm-hmm.
Instead, we're going to look for the middle ground for you. That's a sustainable strategy. And I promise you start to adapt that. And in a year, based on everything I'm saying, within a year, depending on you, depending on life, depending on fate, it could be in 2 or 3 months. It could be in a year. You will feel so good about yourself. It'll blow your mind. And your body will feel better. And it's very possible that you'll hit your natural weight. Whatever that is. We don't know what it is. We really don't know what it is.
That's right. I don't know what it is.
But you have to get out of the way for it to happen. So, Rhonda, you got your work cut out for you, but what a good thing.
For sure. Yes. Definitely.
So we'll follow up in several months and check in
Okay.
and see how you're doing. But I would really love for you to start to, practice what I've been sharing with you.
I will.
And I got a lot of confidence in you. I really do.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you. You've been a good sport. Anything else you want to share before we finish up?
Well, no, I don't think so. No. I think part of me knew what you were saying.
Mm-hmm.
You know, sometimes you just need to hear it from a different, yeah. You just need to hear it from words other than your own, I think, you know?
Yeah. 100% agree. That's why God made other people. That's why it's not just you on planet Earth or me. We need other people.
For sure.
All right. Rhonda, thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
Thank you so much, Mark. Thank you.
Yeah, great work. And thanks, everybody, for tuning in. I'm Marc David, founder of the Institute for the Psychology of Eating, on behalf of the Psychology of Eating podcast. Hope you enjoyed, everybody. I hope you can see yourself in all of us. Hope we can see each other in each other. That's what this is all about, elevating each other, playing a bigger game in life where we can all grow and heal and transform. Thanks again, Rhonda, and lots more to come, my friends.
Thank you, Mark. Thank you. Bye-bye.
I hope this was helpful. Thanks for listening to the Psychology of Eating podcast. To learn more about the breakthrough body of work we teach here at the Institute for the Psychology of Eating, please sign up for our free video series at ipe.tips. That's I for Institute, P for Psychology, E for Eating.tips, TIPS. You'll learn about the cutting-edge principles of dynamic eating psychology and mind-body nutrition that have helped millions of people forever transform their relationship with food, body, and health.